Now, do you want to stop spending long hours reading government solicitations without actually understanding what's in there? Yeah, I know those documents are usually like 30 pages long, but how do you know what to focus on and what to ignore, right? And how do you find subcontractors as a middleman in the government contracting space? So many companies out there. How do you know the companies that are going to be viable for the job? And how do you find them? How do you contact them? Then, the most daunting part of the experience, how do you write government proposals that win contracts? Guys, that's why I started the AI disclosure program. And we're going to be tackling those three things essentially. Now, first, we're going to be decoding the government solicitations using ChatGPT. Look, the truth of the matter is that ChatGPT can read those documents in seconds, while it takes you hours to read the document. I'm going to show you the exact prompts that would help you to decode those solicitations as needed. Also, you're going to need to find the subcontractors. I mean, you may not be able to do the work yourself. It's more likely that you're not going to have the ability to. So you need to team up with some subcontractors, but you have to find them. Now, in the program, I'm going to teach you how to find subcontractors with artificial intelligence as well as Google Boolean search. It's just a fancy way of saying we're going to create terms that Google would use to produce the exact subcontractors that we need on the first page. And of course, we're going to learn how to write proposals with AI. Now, writing proposals with AI is the chunkiest part of the entire program. If you are interested in being part of the AI disclosure program, where I show you how to break down those solicitations with artificial intelligence, when I show you how to find subcontractors using Google search terms as well as Perplexity AI, and also how to build proposals using ChatGPT, then you have to contact me at ETIMGODWIN4 in order to be part of the program. Just message me. We're going to talk. It's not free, but the investment is worth it. All right, guys. So today I wanted to go through some trash collection solicitations from start to finish. What I mean is, I'm going to go in, look for a solicitation that I think is good enough, decode the solicitation, and then begin to build out the table of content, begin to write the proposal. But we're also going to use Google Boolean search to find companies that can possibly do that work. And then we're going to use the information on their website to write the proposal in our company name. The usual things again, as we go into SAM.gov, we want to remember the things that we are going to focus on and the things that we're going to completely ignore. So anything that is a pre-solicitation, we want to ignore. Sources sought, we want to ignore. We're going for original solicitations. We're going for updated synopsis and solicitations. So I'm going to throw in my keyword here as usual. Keyword trash collection. Again, one of the reasons we pick trash collection is because it has that volume. It has a little bit of volume in terms of available contracts. Now, I'm seeing something here that's going to be opening on June 3rd. That's the due date. And it's an original combined synopsis and solicitation. Okay. So provide refuse collection services for Department of Defense Joint Communications Engineering Support Elements, the DoD JCESE. This is Miami, Florida. I actually find that quite interesting. So let's go. The due date is good. And we've also noticed that it's a combined synopsis slash solicitation. So that means there's money behind it and there's a good reason for us to go for it. Now, just a few things that you want to check out. It says total small business aside, FAR 19. Okay. And sometimes they actually write it down there, whether they tell you what the limits are. It has to be a business that has no more than 550 employees, or it has to be a business that is not making more than 40 million in annual revenue. You just want to look out for those things. But trust me, most of the companies that right here, it's affiliates who average annual gross revenue does not exceed 47 million for the past 3 years under NAICS code 562111. So we know that anybody who has made 47 million in the past 3 years is not eligible for this. So all this information is typically in there. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is that this is one of those solicitations where you have to go to a third party website in order for you to see the statement of work and all that. So let's see where this takes us. This is a website called pi.eb. Simply a place where you can also download the solicitations as well and the bid schedule. So that's what we're going to do. There's download all attachments here. Okay, let me see. If you downloaded it in a zip file, yep, that's what happened. Let me see if I can download them individually. Because when you download zip files, typically you wouldn't be able to just put them into there we go. So when I'm downloading them individually, they're PDF files. I want to show you something here now. We have downloaded two documents. Now, did you know that you could upload two documents into ChatGPT at once? So you can actually download or put the two documents and even ask what's the difference between these two. So that kind of action would only be warranted perhaps, let's say you have three amendments and you have three different solicitations. You can put them into ChatGPT and ask it to align the amendments for each of them so that you know exactly what the difference is. So that when you're doing your proposal, when you're writing your proposal, you could acknowledge those specific amendments. That's something that we might see while we are working through the prompts. Okay, I'm going to put in these two documents. Okay, I see that that first one is a spreadsheet. So that's a bidding schedule. And I believe that I'm going to open it actually. I believe that that will be the scheduling for the refuse collection. But for now, I'm going to say break down the SOL, giving us or giving me the scope of work, submission requirements and instructions, as well as other important information in the SOL. And while we're doing that, I'm just going to be working towards opening that bidding sheet so that we can look at exactly what that is. Let's see what this is talking. Okay, so the contractor is required to provide refuse and recycling removal services at the Department of Defense, Joint Communications and Engineering Support Element in Miami, Florida. The service includes providing dumpsters and refuse removal services on a scheduled weekly basis and on an as needed basis as well. Okay. This means that sometimes they're going to call you and say, hey, we have an event, we might need two or three more of these things. We might need five more units. So ensuring dumpster and recycling containers are emptied at least once a week, cleaning up any materials that spill out during the emptying process, replacing damaged containers as necessary, complying with security and operational requirements, including background checks for employees. This is the due date, the submission location. It must be submitted to the contracting officer in the solicitation document and the point of contact, and we have their phone number as well. Okay, so contract period is base year and four option years in detail. Security compliance contractors must ensure that their employees have passed security checks from the state police department for their US residents. Okay, wow. Contractors are responsible for compliance with employment eligibility using the E-Verify program. So we can also ask ChatGPT to confirm what this is, just in case we do not know. Background checks are mandatory for all contractors, employees, and subcontractor employees performing services under this contract. So that's very important here. I'm just wondering what that would look like. The government will make payments to the contractors as stipulated under the payment terms of the contract. I'm going to ask what are the payment terms of the contract? Contractors must maintain specific insurance coverage throughout the contract period. I'm sure the subcontractors you'll be working with will have insurance. So payment terms, electronic funds, final payment. Final payment will be made upon contract completion and after the government has conducted a final inspection and acceptance of all services rendered. Any holds or retentions with the released subject to the satisfaction of the contractual obligation. Okay. Invoicing. Contractors are required to submit invoices according to the schedule established in the contract. And that schedule, I'm about to pull that schedule up right now because I'm opening it here. Okay, so after you've broken down the contract like this, and you understand that this is the overall, the general scope, I would still say you can open the solicitation, go through it, skim through to see where this information is located, to see if there's more details, or you can prompt ChatGPT as well to find out more information. But typically, after you've broken down the solicitation, the next thing you want to do is create Google search terms. So the prompt typically looks like this: create a Google or create Google search terms for each. Oh, actually, what kind of companies can fulfill the job? For the refuse and recycling removal services contract, as outlined in the solicitation document, the type of companies capable of fulfilling the job would generally have the following characteristics. There'll be waste management companies, environmental services companies, facility management companies. But what is really the reason we're doing this first is because we want to turn these companies into search terms that are located in on the location of the site. So I'm going to say turn these companies into search terms with the site location, which I believe is Miami, Florida, right? So this is what it gives us. Waste management companies in Miami, Florida. Environmental services companies in Miami, Florida. So let's start with waste management companies in Miami, Florida. Now, there are two methods that I want to show you on finding subcontractors. The first one, of course, is the one that seems a little bit more fancy, a little bit more technologically advanced, and that's Perplexity AI. Being able to use that to browse the internet in seconds to find those subcontractors. But another effective method that you want to have at the back of your wrist is using Google Boolean searches. Now, the Boolean search is just a fancy term for saying it's a structured search. Like using and or statements. And the thing is that you don't have to create these statements because ChatGPT will create them for you just like this. We're going to start with waste management companies in Miami, Florida. I'm just going to say create Boolean search or create a Boolean search. Create a Boolean search, just capitalize Boolean search for this. And then I paste waste management companies in Miami, Florida. Now, anytime you see ChatGPT do this, that means it's presenting the information to you in code view. Now, when you have this, all you need to do is copy the code. But I'm going to paste it onto the search of ChatGPT just to show you what that looks like. This is the Boolean search: waste management or waste disposal or recycling services or environmental services, and companies or company or companies or contractors or service providers, and Miami or Miami FL or Miami FL. So we have the type of the company, we have other keywords like service provider, companies, and we have the location of the site. What we're going to do really is we're going to take this to Google and see what we find. I'm going to move my screen now. You're going to open a fresh google.com and you're going to paste that Boolean search into Google. Now, when you paste the Boolean search into Google, what you're going to notice is this. Hold on. Okay. What you're going to notice is that in the description, there are going to be some highlighted words. Those keywords were produced by the Boolean search. So we have waste management, we have Miami, we have service provider. So you can see that they're highlighted. This is the power of the Boolean search. It streamlines your Google search to only what you're looking for. So let's look at this. Dumpster rental and garbage. Sounds like what we're looking for. So, Waste Connections of Florida is a trusted waste management company operating in Miami and throughout the state. We provide safe, reliable, environmentally conscious trash collection, recycling, and dumpster rental services. Contact Waste, contact Waste Connections of Miami, Florida today to learn more about how we can help streamline. Okay, cool. I want to look for an about us, and that's typically at the end of their page. Where is well, we have company info, we have about our philosophy, waste collection, improving the environment of the future, all this stuff. Because you are a middleman, you're going to assume all of this about us. And we're going to use that to actually write the proposal as we build it out. But so far, so good. I'm going to just say that perhaps this is the company that we want to work with. I'm going to go into, because this is more of a rental service. They need these dumpsters plus cleaning. So I want to see what these guys do in terms of dumpster rental. What do they have here? Quick and comprehensive pricing, easy delivery and disposal. So they say we'll deliver the roll of dumpster you have chosen. They look and pick it up once you filled it. It is as simple. Okay, let's see how to use the rollover container. I'm going to be using some of this information, but let's move on to building out that table of contents for the proposal. So I'm going to go and get the prompt that I'm going to use. Okay, so I have that prompt here. It says modify this table of contents to suit the SOL attached with only relevant sections needed for a complete proposal related to the attached doc. Okay. Now, in this long table of content, there are some things that you're going to ignore. For example, okay, we have some really good things like relevant capabilities and experience. So we have past experience here. We have pricing. Pricing being the last thing, I would not recommend you put price as the last thing. Perhaps before like all these quality control measures and all that, pricing could come up ahead. Management plan is a good one. Personnel, this one is one that may not be completely necessary, but it's also pretty good to have that if you've talked to a subcontractor and then you have somebody who's going to lead the entire operation on ground. You want to give information about that. But is it one of the core things? Not necessarily. But let's start with the executive summary. So the prompt would typically look like this. Start to write proposal for GovCon Ltd, who is the prime contractor. Start with the executive summary using some of the information below. Now, that information below is going to be copied from the website that we were just looking at for the wasteconnections.com. So I'm just going to put that here. No, I'm creating a more detailed document from breaking down the proposal to actually writing the proposal because I have them scattered. So now I want to bring everything together, but I'll be sending that. All right. So GovCon Ltd is pleased to submit this proposal to provide refuse and recycling removal services to the Department of Defense Joint Communications and Engineering Support Element in Miami, Florida. As a prime contractor with extensive experience in waste management, we are fully equipped to meet the demands and standards required for managing refuse collection and recycling at a significant federal facility. Our proposal outlines a comprehensive approach to managing the refuse and recycling needs of JCSE through the deployment of our advanced roll off dumpster service, tailored specifically to accommodate both the volume and variety of waste produced by the facility. We offer a range of container sizes that perfectly fit the needs of commercial, residential, and construction environments, ensuring flexibility and efficiency in waste handling. So it's essentially picking things out from the solicitation that align with the service that we copied and pasted into the prompt. As you can see, that prompt is pretty long with all the FAQs, everything. The beauty of ChatGPT 4 is that you can post pretty long, voluminous documents and still get it to compress that into really the most important parts. So after I've created an executive summary like this, I'm typically going to copy it into a fresh Google Doc. Now, is it Google Doc that you use for your documents, or do you typically use Microsoft Word? You use Word? Okay. Whatever it may be, I think formatting on Word is much easier. Like when you get into the tools, Google Doc in itself doesn't have much of the functionality. I do recommend Microsoft Word, but I just usually put them in Google Doc at the beginning. Okay, I don't want to move the screen, but I'll just show you that right after. Now, this prompt that we used here that says start writing the proposal for GovCom is the same prompt that we're going to use moving forward. The only thing is that we're going to take it part by part. See, Now, instead of executive summary, we're going to be moving into the introduction. Start with the introduction. So it's no longer going to be start. It's going to be more so write the proposal and perhaps continue with the introduction using some of the information below. Now, that information below is going to be again information about the company or any other information that you may have gathered from subcontractors that you feel would suit the introduction. Again, this is more like a garbage in, garbage out kind of system. Anything you put in is going to give you that back. So the more information you're able to put into ChatGPT, the better your prompts, the better your results will be. So let's look at this introduction. GovCon Limited, a recognized leader in the waste management industry, is committed to providing superior service in refuse and recycling management. With over 25 years of experience, we have established ourselves as a trusted and reliable partner for both residential and commercial sectors, including sensitive and high demand environments such as federal facilities. Okay, let's see. Are there any subheadings? Our services are characterized by flexible dumpster options. We provide a variety of dumpster sizes that are perfect for any scope of work, ensuring that our clients get the right fit for their specific waste proposal needs, disposal needs. Transparent and competitive pricing. Understanding the budget constraints of different projects, we offer clear upfront rental prices without hidden fees, tailored to fit a range of financial frameworks. And I remember when we were actually breaking down the solicitation, it said something about the government to be going for the best value price. So having something like this in the proposal is not a bad idea at all. Hassle free service delivery, from easy scheduling to prompt delivery and pickup. Our operations are designed to provide seamless waste management solutions. Our local presence enables us to respond quickly to clients' needs, minimizing downtime and increasing productivity. And remember, one of the requirements of this contract was that you will be able to not only schedule on a weekly basis, but on a need basis. So having something like this in the solicitation again aligns with one of the needs of the government, which is what we're trying to make sure we are seeing with every paragraph, every line is telling them that this is what they're able to do, and that thing that you're able to do aligns with this thing that you want to do. So, government, GovCon Ltd's dedicated team of professionals is always ready to assist in waste management challenges, providing services and support to ensure that every aspect of the service delivery is handled with utmost care and professionalism. This proposal details how we apply our proven practices and deep expertise to meet the specific needs of the Department of Defense Joint Communication and Engineering Support Element in Miami, Florida. So we're going to take that introduction, and again, I'm going to put it into the Google Doc. Yeah, anything on Chat GPT cheat sheets. What I really want to do now is because I'm looking at all the aspects where we use ChatGPT, from breaking down, from creating keywords to breaking down the solicitations to uh, using it for Google search terms. I want to have a whole ChatGPT sheet that you can follow step by step. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. So we've put the introduction in. Again, we're just going to be following this very same process. We're going to copy the same prompt, put it in here, modify the prompt to suit the next section. Introduction, change introduction to proposal overview, using some information below. For the proposal overview, it's going to be using more information from the SOL. But again, you're going to want to put information about the company that is going to suit that particular part or that particular section of your proposal. So again, I'm going to throw this in. Okay, so GovCon Ltd is proposing to serve the Department of Defense Joint Communications and Engineering Support Element in Miami, Florida, with comprehensive waste management services. Our proposal is designed to meet the unique needs of JCESE by providing reliable, efficient, and environmentally responsible waste removal and recycling solutions. This section of the proposal outlines the services offered, the benefits of choosing GovCom Ltd, and how we plan to implement these services seamlessly with the operations of JCESE. Okay, so the service we provide, roll off dumpster rentals. We provide various sizes for the dumpster to accommodate different types of waste materials, including general garbage, construction debris, yard waste, and large appliances. Okay, recycling service, special waste handling. I want to see if there's anything that aligns with. So we manage special waste types according to the local and federal regulations, ensuring that items such as batteries, chemicals, and now I'm going to do something here. I'm going to put the solicitation back in, and I'm just going to prompt it. Be sure to align the proposal overview with the SOL. Let's see if it changes anything in its response. And not that there was anything wrong with that response. I just want to see. Okay, so there were some things I was wondering because typically ChatGPT will put in like the solicitation number and things like that. So when I didn't see that, I just wanted to throw in the solicitation again to see if the response would change. Because you just have to remember that ChatGPT's memory, like its memory has a bandwidth. So if you've been having the conversation for a very long time and the prompt was the first thing that was put at the top, there's a possibility that ChatGPT would have lost that memory. The reason I was able to identify it was because I didn't see the solicitation number as usual. So now let's see. We're honored to submit this proposal in response to the solicitation for providing refuse collection services at the Department of Defense, blah, 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 Miami, Florida. This proposal is structured to meet the outlined requirements within the solicitation and deliver comprehensive waste management solutions that are effective, compliant, and environmentally responsible. Okay, so provision of equipment, supply of two 8 cubic yard refuse dumpsters and 120 cubic yard roll off container, along with three large recycling containers, as specified in the performance works. This is actually much better. Telling them that this is exactly what you want, this is exactly what we're going to give you. So I actually prefer this more than this, where it's like, okay, we've been trusted for 25 years and all that. It doesn't really have much to do with the proposal overview. So that it was, I'm really happy that that happened during the call, so that you can see that maybe you might catch that ChatGPT is talking about some things that may not be too relevant. If you want to remind it about what's relevant, you just want to put the solicitation back in and tell it, make sure that this aligns with the solicitation. So I hope that's clear. Now, implementation strategy, value proposition. Okay, so now this is where it puts the whole 25 years of experience in waste management, cost effectiveness, sustainability focus. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to throw it into our Google Doc. And again, we're going to run through the exact same process. We're going to grab this prompt. So after proposal overview, the next thing was now, just because of time, I want to run towards technical approach because I want you to see what technical approaches usually come out like. And I'm going to go into that website again. Okay, so I know what I'm going to do. So now this is for the technical approach. On one hand, I am going to input a solicitation again in here. I'm going to collect some information from the website again and post it right under. Okay, let's see what the technical approach comes to. Okay, GovCon Ltd proposes a detailed and effective technical approach to manage refuse collection and recycling services for the Department of Defense Joint Communication and Engineering Support Element in Miami, Florida. Our approach is designed to ensure maximum efficiency, compliance with all relevant regulations, and minimal disruptions to the GCESE operations. Okay, so the equipment and facilities. Provision of containers. We will supply two 8 cubic yard refuse dumpster with lids and lid props, and additional 8 cubic yard refuse dumpster, and three large recycling containers as specified in the solicitation. Okay, so the containers would be strategically placed within the fenced areas of the relevant buildings to facilitate easy access and efficient waste management. Roll off container. A 20 cubic yard roll off container will be provided and located as specified to handle larger and irregular refuse needs, ensuring flexibility for varying volumes of waste. The idea here is that once a contracting officer is reading this proposal, what's going through their mind is like, okay, this person went through the solicitation and they're going to give us exactly what we want. And that's what you want to make sure with every single section of the proposal: compliance and safety, adherence to regulations. All operations will comply with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer Safety and Health Requirements Manual, as well as applicable federal, state, and local regulations concerned with waste disposal and environmental protection. Security background check, consistent with the solicitation requirements, all personnel will undergo security checks approved by the State Police Department of the U.S. residents. We will maintain records of these checks and ensure compliance with the Department of Defense security protocols. So there may be a situation where everybody who is going to be on site would have to go through a security clearance background check, and that may need to be documented and even attached. Okay, so this is the technical approach. Now, another thing is, let me see, quality control, continuous improvement, customer feedback, and continuous improvement. We will establish a feedback loop with the JCSC to continually assess the effectiveness of the waste management service and make necessary adjustments. This would include regular performance reviews and adaptation of any changes and operational requirements. Okay, that looks good. We're going to put this into our doc. Now, another thing that's important to know is, and we haven't seen any of that yet, but sometimes they will tell you that each aspect, like a technical approach, needs to be in a different document. It needs to be separated. So it will be important to also know, like, this document needs to come in a separate PDF file. And say, for instance, the proposal is only asking for a technical statement. Okay, there are some instances where you're going to need to separate all the documents, but like I said, the solicitation is going to tell you exactly that. And you're going to get that when you put in the prompt, like, what are the submission requirements? So I have put in that same prompt and I have seen where they would say something like, this is the amount of margin size that you need to have. It should not exceed 20 pages. It should not exceed 15 pages. Now, if none of that is included, then the requirements are just going to be less. You're just going to see that, okay, you need to submit a proposal, a comprehensive proposal, something like that. But just because we have about 10 minutes on the clock, I want to put in this solicitation here and ask it what the submission requirements are again. List out all proposal submission requirements. Okay, the submission format must be submitted in accordance with the format specified in the solicitation, including completion of required forms and okay, so I'm going to ask deeper about that. Offerers are required to complete specific blocks in the solicitation form, particularly block 12, 17, 23, 24, and 30 in the 1449 form. Those are typical. Address for submission. Proposals should be submitted to the contracting office address provided in. Oh, so this doesn't. Okay, it's an electronic submission. It seems like they're giving you two options where you can actually mail the submission or electric submission. If electric submission is allowed, okay, hold on. If it's allowed, you're supposed to be giving me what is in. Are these requirements in the SOL? Oh, and by the way, I want you guys to remember that this particular contract that we got was one of those that take us to a third party website. And like I think I've mentioned this before, but typically they have a different process if it's a third party website when it comes to like submissions. I usually ignore third party websites because I just like to have that direct communication with the contracting officer where I have their email. But this says yes, the proposal submission requirements listed are derived from and aligned with the solicitation document that you provided. So I'm just wondering if it's an electronic submission or they want you to mail it. Or perhaps you can do one of E-Verify program. The contractor must confirm that all employees meet U.S. employment eligibility using E-Verify program. Okay, if they're working at the company, it's very likely that they meet those requirements already. Insurance requirements and anti-terrorism, operational security requirements, additional clauses and certifications. Okay, is there an email to submit the proposal? Okay, it doesn't specify any email address for submitting the proposal. It typically provides a physical address for submission. It seems like these guys want mail more so than they want an electronic submission because they provided the name of the contracting officer, but they did not provide her email. So that's interesting. After the proposal is done, you mail it to the office. They provided the address and everything. That's an interesting one. Typically, it's usually an electronic. But when you go into proposals or when you go into solicitations, who take you to a third party website to download the document, you're going to see different requirements. I can guarantee you that almost 90% of the time. Okay.